Hello, welcome to our next class. We are in a third module and we are discussing various topics related to Windows OS vulnerabilities. So far, we have seen in detail Windows file system vulnerabilities, and we have almost finished RPC related vulnerabilities also. Remote procedure call, RPC stands for remote procedure call, just remind it. And as part of RPC, we have seen NetBIOS and SMB. Now we are going to see another topic, null sessions. But these null sessions also has some relationship or close relationship with RPC. It cannot be considered as a separate topic. So these null sessions, as the names implies, sessions which have been established or connection which have been established without passing any authentication credentials. Null stands for nothing. That means without establishing a proper authenticated connection, data is passed. Data are passed. So this null session is a weaker point of Windows operating systems. They are not being used in recent desktop OS as well as server Windows OSs. But related to many other technologies like SMB, NetBIOS, we had seen that they also suffer from various security threats, but they are being used even now because of several backward compatibility issues. That means for a updated or recent operating system to interact with an older one, we may have to rely upon older type of technologies as well. So in such cases, there is no other way than using all these really weaker technologies. So null session also belongs to such category. Recent Windows OSs, both desktop OS and server OSs, do not make use of these null sessions. By after realizing the threats related to null sessions, recent Windows OSs updates, they do not make use of null sessions. Now when coming to null sessions, as I said earlier, sessions or connections are being established without proper authentication mechanisms. As we know, Windows OS is designed with easiness by considering easiness as the main factor or main design factor. We are using Windows systems more than Linux only because of this advantage, that is easiness. But as we know, if something is easy, then the other side will be lack of proper security. Similar to that, null session is so easy, but it lack proper security mechanisms so that hackers or skilled users may make use of this null session or exploit these null sessions to steal many information, including user information, group information and their policies, and sharing policies, shared files, passwords, password policies, etc. So using null session is a dangerous thing. Why? Because as we just said now, all these are vital information, all these vital information are under threat. Thus, this null session is usage of null session is to be minimized. We cannot neglect or uh, stop using this null session altogether. Why? Because in order to preserve the backward compatibility. But even then, we can reduce the use of null sessions, and null sessions could be used only on such necessary situations with other some security mechanisms taken into care. So that's all about null sessions. Now we move on to another main area of vulnerability existing in Windows OS, that is web services. As in the introduction, as we have seen in the introduction, web services they are a necessary feature of Windows OS. Even without using Windows Server, we can launch a website with the help of this server, which is inbuilt in normal desktop OS. Its name is IIS, Internet Information Service. This area where you can upload all your website related files, and you can go to a browser and using the local host feature, you can display the web content. Now, even though it's a very necessary or essential feature for beginners of website designing activities, we have to take maximum care when using IIS. If it is not the case, if you don't take necessary precautions, then our data uploaded in this IIS will be under threat. There are many protocols being used in this web services like SOAP, WSDL, etc. This SOAP stands for Simple Object Access Protocol, and WSDL stands for Web Services Description Language. This WSDL is XML based language for describing various functionalities offered by web services. The main threat in this web service is that usually IIS allows certain type of files to be uploaded into the server part. But if a hacker is succeeded in uploading some restricted file extensions, then the hacker can manipulate the data we have uploaded in our IIS server. Normal kind of attacks or type of attack or normal strategy that a hacker may follow are XML and SQL based injection attacks, spoofing attacks, denial of service attacks, man in the middle attacks, etc. So these web services, if not configured properly, will be prone to these kinds of attacks. So using IIS, even though it is necessary for beginners, we can configure the IIS in such a way that it promptly filter all the restricted file extensions, and to a certain extent it provides proper security against these attacks mentioned. So these are the precautions we can, remedial measures, not remedial measures, precautions that an administrator can follow for getting rid of these kinds of attacks. Now we move on to another topic, buffer overflows. This is a common kind of attack we can see even in a small C or C++ program where such buffer overflow exceptions are not properly handled. We had seen these buffer overflow attacks in the previous module, and now as we know, buffer is a temporary storage or a storage in random access memory which may contain any kind of data. It will depend